Greetings from the black holes of Dakota Territory, United States of Advertising. Stan Gibilisco here with a little story for you. A writing tale rather than a writing tip. Way back in the 1990s, I believe it was, before my original publisher Tab Books was bought out by McGraw-Hill, they had offices up in Pennsylvania. And one of my books proved to be so large, so massive, that their editorial staff was overwhelmed by the task of preparing it for publication. So they requested that I spend some time in their editorial office and actually literally serve as one of the editors of my own book, which I did for the better part of a month. And I became familiar with that area, Blue Ridge Summit, Pennsylvania, Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, very much like, in many ways, where I live now in the Black Hills of South Dakota, except I guess they get more rainfall and we get more snowfall, something like that. But anyway, the little town of Blue Ridge Summit, Pennsylvania, had this old rambling sort of a Victorian mansion, and they had their editorial offices in there, and I worked with them. And I recall one of their, I believe it was one of their typesetters. Now that was way back in the day when they actually edited paper manuscripts by hand and then typed them all up. They had to retype them into a little machine that made paper tape about an inch wide. You may have remembered that kind of tape if you were operated radio teletype or teletype machines way back in the 60s and 70s. Well, that's the way they did it. They had to render everything all over again. They had to key it in all over again manually. And this book was about 602,000 words in length, as I remember, a reference book. And they, one of these guys, he was kind of a hippie-like guy, maybe in his 20s, and we were having lunch outside on one of the nicer days that spring, and he said, "Oh, you're the pain doctor." The pain doctor. Because he, being tasked with the arduous process of rekeying that entire manuscript. I did it in a couple of years or a year and a half, something like that. He had to do it in maybe a month. And brother, it put him through some pain. So he called me the pain doctor. Never forget it, the way he talked like that. He talked like he was stoned all the time. I don't know if he was. You know, I heard a story. Well, I'm not going to tell you this. It'll scare you too much. But anyway, that's the story from here. The Pain Doctor signing off from the deep, dark, somewhat windy but warm recesses of the black holes. Until next time, so long.